Hello, folks. I come to you today in a spirit of peace and brotherhoodness, and on behalf of our new show, Borderless Africa TV. I would like to send my condolences to the footballer who lost his life in the earthquake in Syria and Turkey. I think his name is Achu Christian. I learned about that through watching Wode and the former president of Ghana, President John Mahama. So that's how I got to that news. But the reason why I come to you today, it's about revealing the mysteries about our borders, and especially the Ghana-Togo border at Aplau. It saddened me to see Wode, our favorite African village boy. I've been his fan since he was in China, long time ago, and I saw his growth and the good work that he's doing. It saddened me to find out that he is not getting the answers to why these borders are still there. Why is it? Because in his experience or the saga that he went through in his on the last episode about the border, crossing it to Benin or somewhere, he met a politician. Even though the politician that he met, she could not, even though she was mad about the politics around the border, she could not illustrate very well or give any meaningful insight, because she's been a politician, a parliamentarian in the past government, and then on and also he was a minister in the past government and also parliamentarian in this dispensation. She should know better, and she showed a little bit of understanding how things are not really working. So I'm gonna give her a lot of slack for that, because she was not interviewed to give her idea or personal view on why things are the way. It was just a small, maybe half a minute of her complaining about the situation. Anyway, so, but the former president, sat down with Wode, and Wode was trying to find out why things are the way they were. And I think the president has been very, very not very straightforward about the border. He spoke about the airport, the visa free, but I think President Mahama dodged the question and did not give us what we were looking to hear from him. Okay, now what I personally think is the situation is the border, all the borders, especially the Togo, the Ghana border, the semi-border between Benin and, or maybe Benin and Nigeria or whatever. I never been there before, but I've been through the one between Ghana and Togo several times. The people that operate those borders, and from the top to the down, the top is a political appointment. This is what Wode is trying to get to, but they are dodging the question. The top, every government that comes to Ghana appoints their immigration top head and their custom top head, because that is where the money is at. Okay? So you appoint your own, just like here in America. Every mayor that comes to town appoints their own police chief. Every governor that every mayor that comes to end that wins election in any American city appoints their own police chief, because they use crime as a way to intimidate people to vote. So that when a mayor comes to a major American city, the mayor would try to appeal to people's or fear that they're gonna bring down crime. So he have to come with a police chief of his own, because they go to elections or campaign on how they're gonna bring crime down. We're gonna be tough on crime. We're gonna put a boot on the ground. So when they win the election based on putting boot on the ground to alleviate crime or to reduce crime, and especially gun violence, it's all politics. They bring their own police chief to show to the people that, they are on their campaign promise. It's not different from what is going on in Ghana, because we learn the trade from them. We learn this trade from these motherfuckers. And it's not working for us, because it's based on whatever they love behind is based on commercial activity in their favor. Africa being, whatever it is for them and nothing for us. This is a story for another day. So we learn the game from them. The border at Aflao is second to Tamahabo. How many people knew that? Okay. In terms of money and in terms of traffic, the border at Aflao brings more money than Kotoka International Airport, because the kind of things that goes on at Aflao cannot go at the international airport. You see, the border between Benin and Nigeria probably bring more money, in book and outside the book than Murtala Muhammad Airport, because what goes between Benin and Badagry can go on at Murtala. Simple as that. And all these people that they put over there are political appointee. Your political appointee are the migration head, the top head, and the custom make the decision who he gonna put at these places that bring in the money. You see, what am I? This is the truth, and we got to go to the depth of it if we want to change the shenanigan and the bribery and the extortion that goes on at the border. I saw it with my own eye. I was crossing the border to send a computer to a friend who repaired computer, Apple computer. That time there was no too many Apple computer in Ghana. And they want to know why I'm taking the computer. So we have to make a paper that the computer is going and he'll be coming back. And one of the guys took me to the top to see the Ogbo, the top man. They had a greeting. I can't even display the kind of greeting they had. It's so funny, so corny. They had a greeting. So the guy came and do the greeting, whatever ritual that was. I was like, what kind of corny situation is this? You see, it's a cult. Just as the police in America has a cult of killing us, it's a cult. It is a cult. And you have to be part of it or you won't last. You will not last. So it's a political appointee. The money, the people who appoint, the top head that is appointed by the government to head the custom office in Accra and the immigration office in Accra makes the decision which of his boys is going to bring over there. Because every custom officer who comes to Aflao have to build a house within that short period that they posting him over there. How to get a car and build a house quickly, because if you don't do it within that 2 years or within the 4 years that the government is going to last, you will not be able to build a house in your life again, because you're going to go back to a salary that don't do anything for you. I'm going to go back on a dry salary. A salary that has no water in it. So within a few years, you are there. Within few months, you are there. You have to build your house. Other than that, you will not see, you won't be able to do anything. If car is your main thing, you got to get that car quick. If a house is your thing, you got to get that house quick before the government is changed and the top notch, which is your favorite, is gone. Because when he comes, he's coming, he's sweeping a house, he's draining the river out of over the crocodile, as they say in America. They're draining the swamp. He will come and drain the swamp and bring his own boys to town at Aflau. This is all it is. Then there's another twist to it. Okay, okay. So when the money is made, Accra has a share in that money, because he's not gonna send any officer over there and his boys over there knowing that they're making money and he will not see a part of it. Whether that money ends up in some campaign contribution, party politics, I don't know. But if a government in power appoints you and millions are coming from Aflau and you are part of it, you better be grateful. You better be good to that party. Through generosity. You have to. Even if the money is not being used for campaign or anything, somebody is above you, maybe the Minister of Interior who appoints this thing, or somebody. You see, the minister, you are under somebody at the top. Okay, that somebody is the person who the president tells to, change guards. Because changing guard at Aflau has a political twist to it also. So he will appoint somebody that will change the guards at Aflau. Whether the government in power look at it politically, other people look at the money aspect of it. The president might not know money is coming through, I don't know. But the president has a political twist at Aflau. Because when it comes to elections, a whole lot of things, people think differently about Aflau when it comes to elections. Both parties. I'm not going to make any accusation over here. I'm just telling, because I have families on both sides of the border. And when each political decisions are taken over the border, whether to close it or to allow it to remain open, it affects families on both sides. We all know a line has been drawn through people regardless. The British, the criminals don't care how they draw the line. So people's kitchen here, people's cemetery here, people's farmland is here, or half of the farmland one is here. We know these things because we are family-oriented people. But when it comes to politics, the most painful thing is these Africans who are Ghanaians, who are very, very family-oriented, know these things, but politics blinds them to do things that affect people's life. And I know about it. So I'm not here talking for any part. I'm talking about the pains that families, people who are close to me, are going through. So I have authority on this thing. Don't tell me this is politics. Because we are very family-oriented people. But when it comes to politics, we throw the family thing away. People are having the same name over here, the same name over here. We know about it. But it's easily to say, oh, they are Togolese. It's easily to say they are Ghanaians. Same family from the same grandfather, grandmother, divided by a line that people who drew this line care less about it. But now we are enforcing that line. Okay, so the political twist to it is more devilish than the money that goes to Accra. You see? So what do? In the political aspect of it, they post a person who is not native to the area. Okay. They post a person who is not native to the area to enforce that. Okay. And the people who are native to the area, this is the political, the evil of the politics that plays, the people who are native to the area, speak the language on both sides, can understand the people, become more meaner, Wode Maya. They become more meaner to us than the strangers who came from either Kumasi or Axim or North or whatever. Without the native support, they're supposed to be at least very friendly to us because they are on a strange land. Naturally, that's what they're supposed to do, even though if the appointment is a political. They know we are in these people's land. This is their turf. This is their area. But it is our own people, through fear and intimidation, that if they don't toe the line of this cultish behavior, the man coming from far away may report him to Accra and he or she will be removed from there. So they become even more harder on their own people. Yes, the custom officers who are Ewe, the immigration officers who speak the language of Ewe are more harder because the person on top of them, appointed from Accra, may report them. This is the most devilish part of it, turning the their own people against their own people. It's just like a black man being a police force or police service. It's a police force in America. It's not a service. These people are more armed than anything than going to Afghanistan. In America here, the black police, in the presence of a white police, will not give you any form of mercy because he probably wishing to do it. But because somebody on top of him is a Caucasian, will report him for being kind to his own kind. And it's normal to be kind to your own kind and to others. But in this cultish atmosphere of police force or whatever it is, migration force, the court mentality turn you against your own people, which is not natural for any human being. Look at how the 5 police people who killed somebody, black people, and we could not even riot. If it were white, probably there would be, white people, white 5 police, we could, because we couldn't believe it. We were shocked. So we couldn't even riot. We could not riot. We couldn't make a special a funeral service in Ghana for that policeman, that young man, build him, blooded to death by 5 black police officers. At one point, one person can say it's enough is enough. So the same thing we be seeing. It's human beings are human beings. So every immigration officers, every custom officers, both female and male, become harder on their own people at the border because they have to make that money. Because somebody who is not every officer is looking after them because the pressure is on. They have to make that money to go to the top. The person who sent them over there. And the pain is Mahama knew about this thing. The president knew about this thing. Mahama knew about this chain of sending money to the top because nobody will send you as an immigration officer to Aflau, and you are making $30,000, $40,000 a day, and he won't have part of it. Okay, nobody will appoint you to go and take the helms of affairs as an immigration officer at Aflau, custom officer at Aflau, while you are making such a money, and he will not see a penny of it in Accra. He's the big guy. He cannot come to Aflau, so he sent you over there, and you could be making more money than he could see in 10 years, in a month, that his whole life as an officer in Accra. What the F is officer? He's just a big dude, you know? He's just a big dude. He cannot come and take that bribe. So you are his messenger. He knew there's bribe taking over there. And he's been appointed by a new government. You want to tell me the people in that circle don't know that there's so much money outside the book that the boys are making? When they say Aflau brings more money than Kotoka Airport and is the second in revenue generation after the port of Tema, that means it surpassed the port of Takoradi. And you want to say, and I read it in the newspaper. So you want to say these words that they've been throwing around, the powers that be don't know how important that place is. Forget about the politics of whether they want to close the border and cause hell to the people. Forget about that one. You want to tell me that word that they've been throwing around, how do I know? The revenue, IRS, whatever, internal revenue don't know about it? They are the one who made that word that Aflau border is second in revenue generation after Tamahabo. Politicians don't know about it. The person who they appoint, the internal internal ministry appoints to be the head of immigration. I don't know, immigration is under defense or whatever it is. You want to tell me the person who appoints, who the new government appoint to take the helm of immigration and custom, and that was appointed, and his responsibility to send people to the border, the head of the border, the head of the other border, the head of the immigration office in other borders. You want to tell me that man don't know that Aflau is the second in revenue generation when he takes over that place? You want to tell me the interior minister or the minister of defense, whose responsibility it is to appoint the head of the immigration and the custom, if he falls under defense? I just know which way he falls, but whoever the government appoint, the new government appoint, and it is his responsibility to appoint the head of the immigration and the head of customs. You want to tell me he doesn't know that he's going to go and deal with Aflau, some great amount of money generation? And, you know, he going to take, and that man's responsibility is to take the old guard at Aflau and appoint his own boys. You want to tell me they don't know what Aflau is all about in terms of money? Oh, Accra is just innocent about what goes on in Aflau. Even though Aflau is the second in terms of money generation, revenue generation, oh, Accra is just oblivious about that fact. The money that goes on book and the one that goes outside the book, Accra is innocent. Oh, the politicians don't know nothing about that. It's the boys at Aflau just being misbehaving. That's what Mahama is telling us. The boys at Aflau are just, misbehaving. President Mahama, come clean. I don't want to talk about Nana is not interviewed on Aflao border. Mahama is being interviewed on Aflao border. And Mahama is saying it's an innocent thing. The boys over there, in my time, I opened the border, I opened visa free, we did it. No, President Mahama, you dodged the question. Don't do that to Wode. Wode is trying to get to the bottom of this mess so that we empty the swamp. The swamp is full of crocodiles. We need to get to the bottom of this. The borders have to be free, and we have to get all these crocodiles out of the swamp. Making life difficult for elderly people, making life difficult for seniors. The money is so good. You see, a case in point. Few of the immigration officers or custom officers over there said they knew Wode, but they told him they cannot help. The same thing. You go over there, you see a friend that you went to school with. You see your own people that you speak in the language. They pretend as if they don't hear no more. Because the accounts are there with them. The Northerners are there with them. These people pretend they can't even speak the language. And the reason why they are there is to help their people who speak no English and speak no French and speak no Akan language. What are you there for your people? You can't help them because somebody is overlooking you to see how you treat your people. So you become meaner to your people to prove to the courtists, the court members, that you're doing your job. Different from the police in America here, black police, in the presence of Caucasian police, and will close their eyes and let the abuse go on. It's the same. You see? So when Wode is going around looking for to go to the bottom of it with politicians, they're all dodging the questions. Mr. Mahama, you have to be strong on these things. You got to be strong, because I watched you one time, in another video. A woman asked you, what is the leverage Africans can use to leverage for Europeans? We got everything. How can we leverage what we have against the European exploitation? Mahama dodged the question. Mahama dodged the question. Because the lady say, at this point in our life and our economy, we have so much that we can leverage to stop the bullies. The crime organization called France. France is nothing but a criminal organization. How can we leverage? How can we stand as men, as politicians, as citizens of character? The strongest character to say, hey, if you behave like this towards us, we got everything that you want. The lady say, how can we do that? Mahama dodged the question. So President Mahama, we're watching you. Yeah, you did so many great things, but we want leaders now that can stand up in the world that we live in, and with so much that we have, that everybody is taking it aside. You see? Wode ask you, how can we do additional, beneficiation, as President Mugabe have coined? You dodge the questions again. That young people cannot be trained to be farmers, that big corporations, big farmers. And the moment you're talking about big farmers, you're thinking about some South African farmers, some Boers, some white Afrikaners. You're thinking about some white people coming to use chemicalized GMO farming in Africa. Okay? That's what you're thinking about. That young people don't have the experience to know. What is schools are doing for? What do we have schools for? Teach them That's what they do in Kenya. You mentioned Kenya. That's what Kenya and Zimbabwe is doing. When Zimbabwe get rid of all these big farmers, they learn the hard way. Today, Zimbabwe is about to export wheat. There was sanction on them, so no white farmer is farming the wheat. It was the black people. Mahama, be a man. Be a strong leader. Stop this, patronizing of big corporations. Zimbabwe, get rid of the big farmers. Only 5,000 people control the whole land in Zimbabwe, as big as it is, like 4 times of Ghana. When they get rid of about 4,000 of them or more than that, do you know how many people got land? Over 500,000 people got farming land. And each African farmer got tens of family members. So that is worth distribution. When 5,000 big farmers, Rhodesians, Englishmen had the land in Zimbabwe, most of them don't have big family. It wasn't distributing the wealth. Some of these big farmers probably have only 2 children or 2.5 children and a dog. But when Mugabe get rid of them and took the land, 500,000, 500,000 families got the same land 5,000 people controlled. Mahama, be the man that we want you to be. Other than that, the ANC, forget it. I'm not here for party. Okay, you dodge the question when what the Maya is telling you. How can we beneficiate our resources, add value to them? You're talking about big. You already said that the millionaires in Ghana who are buying big cars don't invest in farming. So the person in your mind, the people in your mind who can do big farming is Caucasians, because the Ghanaians are not interested in it. So when you still have, instead of to say, we're going to set up an institution, we're going to do this, we're going to train the Ghanaian, we're going to support them with capital. You didn't say that. Rather, you said the small farmers have no experience. So you're going to bring where? You're going to bring farmers from Netherlands, Finland, from cold temperate region to come and do their GMO and fuck the land up like they be fucking in their own countries. You see? Man, I'm going too far. But President Mahama, be the man that Ghanaians want you to be if you want to remain relevant to our condition. We want leaders that will stand up and be firm. When we talk about investors, 99.9% of the people who jump in our head is Caucasians. Just as when we think about God, 99.999% of people think God is some blonde hair, pale face person. Same thing with investors. Investors, as if we don't have. Yeah, you say the investors in Ghana, they are buying big cars. All they do is in buy and sell. So anytime we think about investors to come and fuck us up, take all the money to Dubai, we don't think about Ghanaians. We don't even think about Dangote. Anyway, so that is my piece on the border situation.